Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. I feel blessed to have her around us because she is the go-to answers, trying to figure things out. She's so multifaceted in terms of what she does, from life coaching, guiding your life forward, to harnessing the power of energy. She does psychic readings. Yes, she's intuitive. Sound bath sessions. Again, that's energy right there. And also reading your birth chart. And apparently today she's going to look at my birth chart, and we're going to find what that reveals as an example for us all. And it's great to have her back here. Jamie Serrato's on the program. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me back on.
I'm excited. A little, I don't want to say cautious, but wondering what you may have uncovered with my birth chart, and it's all good. And this all starts simply, if for anybody's unfamiliar with astrology and the birth chart, just your date and time of birth and location, general location, city, whatever. If that's all it's needed, you plug it in and you come up with, what do you got?
So what you come up with is it looks a little bit like this. It's a whole bunch of different planets, which is intimidating for some people to look at because it's a lot of information. And astrology is really a language, but the blueprint that we're born with at the time of birth, it tells something about our energy and something about our soul and our life's purpose. So when you gave me your birth chart information, it opened up the ability for me to kind of read a little bit of what's going on with you. So I want to give you those downloads first, but looking at your birth chart was really what triggered the downloads for me. So you had asked about unlocking that ability to be able to talk to your spirit guides directly. And they're saying that is on the table for you. It's something you can unlock. It's just that right now you're kind of more focused on working through your upper chakras right now, which has to do with interpersonal issues in your life, like as opposed to transpersonal issues.
What's the difference between the two?
Interpersonal issues has to do more with like your personal life. So that would be like your friendships, your family, your neighborhood, maybe the church that you go to. It would be about developing your spiritual skills on that plane first before you unlock more of your soul's purpose. They're saying you're in your soul's purpose, but it's not been fully unlocked. And down the road, as more of your soul integrates down into your lower chakras, you may develop more psychic abilities.
When we say soul's purpose, is that also your life's purpose?
Yes, I would say so. Although some people live their whole life without unlocking their soul's purpose, I think.
I will tell you along those lines that I feel I'm doing what I was designed to do in life, but there's more out there based on what I do. There's more that's coming my way. And ultimately, it's to help people. So I can't even tell you how strong that pull is of something there. Like I feel it. It's it's coming. I just trying to be patient. It's all good. And I see the wheel slowly turning in that direction. And I'm taking those steps as well. But if I knew that I could pick up the ball and throw it right there and hit the target and we're good to go. No, I don't know that. I don't have that answer. But I feel what you're saying there. I really do.
Okay. So there's more for you, definitely. Let me see if I can find this on my paper. I typed it all up. Okay. One of your gifts is that you help to stabilize light workers and people who are going through rapid transformations, which can be seen in your birth chart. You have Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn tends to be the maturity, the part of ourselves that becomes mature. And in Aquarius, it likes to help stabilize the community and stabilize their friendships and any kind of circle like that is social in nature.
So how would, that being said, how would I apply that to my life?
You're already doing it. Like if you look at our conversation back and forth. And as we get to know each other more, you're really stabilizing me while I step into my purpose.
And I have to be honest with you, I don't try. Like it's auto, I don't want to say autopilot because I'm fully engaged, but
Yeah.
it just comes out. And people say to me, do you prepare? Do you do, write questions down for interviews and all that? No, but I will tell you this. There was a time not far off where I would worry about that. Like, what am I going to say? How am I going to move this? What do we have? Now it just organically happens. And I just feel that's the universe coming through and just, making it happen.
Yeah, we're all channels, right? So
Yeah.
when we sync up with that energy, we can let it flow through us and it comes out in the form of creativity. And for you, it's these conversations.
And what you do, and I fully respect it, never say never, but I never could do that. Like it bores me, the fourth house sun, blah, 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 blah. I'm a Virgo. That's what I got for you. That's kind of as deep as it goes. That's why I leave it to the trained, qualified professionals to disseminate this information because it just, my mind starts, I just can't do it. Like it interests me in a major way, but I don't have interest in learning how to do it. It's past me. I can't. That's why I'm like edge of my seat holding on here. What else did you see in my chart?
Well, you have a lot of aspects to your sun, and it's in the third house, which is the house of communication and speaking. Okay. And it's conjunct Pluto and Uranus, and it's also opposite Jupiter. So that's like a large amount of outer planets aspecting your sun. And what I was being told this morning by my guide is that people who have a lot of outer planet aspects like that are meant to be seen because it makes your personality, your sun almost larger than life.
Interesting. And I want to share too that somebody could be watching, listening to this and saying, she said communication. Look what Steve does. Mm-hmm. You just said where my planets align. And, I could share with anybody the skeptical date of birth and all the information you had, they'll see the same exact thing. So It's all factual here. It's not like you're just making it up, it's the real deal.
And there was another bit of information they gave me. When you asked about your guides, they said that you work with Saint Germain. He's one of your guides. And Saint Germain, actually, he uses the violet flame to transmute karma. And they said that's also one of your life purposes is that you help transmute karma for other people.
What does that mean? Transmute karma.
Okay, so when we go through heavy traumatic situations, our karma, right? The difficult things that we signed up for in this lifetime, it leaves almost a density in the aura, like a mark. Because of the trauma, right? If you think of someone who's been through a lot of abuse, you can kind of see it on them. You can see it in their aura. So when you take someone like me who has been through a lot of karma and a lot of difficulty, and you put them in front of someone like you who is able to see them in a positive light, you are a high level mirror, meaning that you're able to mirror back to me a high frequency because you've done a lot of work on yourself. So when you look at someone through those pure eyes, through the eyes of love, through the eyes of enlightenment, you actually help remove some of the density out of that person's aura so they can let go of their old selves.
Wow. And you're right, because I seem to connect with people of what you described. And I'm kind of a magnet in some regards. And even in relationships, even in personal relationships, that shows up. That's what shows up. Interesting.
It's almost like you wash the person clean, and it's a very intense process. Your energy is very powerful. And before I go into a situation like a podcast like this, I'm feeling that energy, and you have a lot of light. They told me that your third eye is very open and you have a large amount of intuitive knowledge.
There was a time where a energy healer told me that my third eye was kind of mucked up and cleansed it, energetically. And maybe it was functioning at 60%, but not 100%. But this person said, I make up for it with my keen sense of spotting BS.
Well, that's part of the third eye's function is discernment and being able to tell illusion from reality.
So I want to share with you based on what you said. When it comes to personal relationships, even, life partners, that kind of thing, many times people that I meet are, have stuff going on. And it's almost as if I'm placed in their life to help them.
Yes, you are. I can tell. You are. And you're doing it on such a grand level. You're affecting so many people. Every time you have a podcast, I don't know what you do all day. I only see you right now. But it's almost like you incarnated with a grand spiritual mission to help a lot. You wanted to be able to impact a lot of people.
So I'll share with you. I've been working in radio since I was a kid, like literally paid professionally.
Okay.
And after 26 years, I left a big job. It was like my second job, and that was 6 months in. I didn't even have a driver's license. I got a job at a huge radio station and stayed there a long time. I left, and it was a mutual departure. Just didn't feel right anymore. Mm-hmm. And I started looking for jobs where I could help people in the community. Director of external affairs at a hospital, that kind of thing. And then somebody said, hello, what do you think you were doing when you were on the radio? You were helping people. Yeah. So I went back into it, and that was decades ago, and I'm still doing it. You said the word karma, and it's funny. I don't think it's a coincidence. There are none. I was thinking about karma this morning, and the concept of it and what it really is and when it shows up. And so when somebody does something knowingly that they're hurting others, then maybe they continue to do it, and they think, whatever, this is my life and I don't really care. Does karma affect them eventually?
Eventually. We don't always see it right away, but it's very important to surrender your enemies and situations like that to God and let God handle the karma. Now, that doesn't mean you don't protect yourself, right? But God will deal out the karma, and it can take a long time. It can take years, but know that like if you have been wronged repeatedly, those people are going to be brought to justice by the divine.
And it's on the divine or universe's time. And am I right in saying or assuming that it might be in another lifetime?
Sometimes, yes. But we are at a point on Earth right now where consciousness is really rapidly evolving. So there's a lot of karma being dealt right now as the collective begins to go through their awakening process.
The collective being who?
Everybody, right? So we have a collective in the US, we have a collective in other countries, but the collective is the collective consciousness. It's everybody's mind kind of combined.
Got it. Before we move on, that chart in front of you, what else are you seeing? Personal stuff? Okay. What do you got there?
As far as the chart goes, I wanted to ask you about your relationship with your father, because your son is so heavily aspected and it's conjunct Pluto exactly. And that can be different things. Sometimes it shows the loss of the father. Sometimes it shows power struggles with the father, or sometimes the father was just extremely influential in your life.
I don't know where to begin. He passed away suddenly when I was 21.
Okay.
Didn't have a close relationship so much with him.
Yeah.
After his passing, and especially in the last 4 years or so, I'm him.
Wow. You feel like that?
I do. I'm living in many regards his life. And I don't, it's kind of weird in a way when I think about it. It's like, as life has gone on, I mean, right after he passed, I felt that we both had a love of the water, outdoors, beach, things like that. And I didn't really embrace or realize that till he was gone. But then, like I said, years later, now I'm kind of living his life. Very weird in a way, but maybe not. So I don't know if that transcribes to, what you see.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of how it looks. You have Sun conjunct Pluto and Uranus, and that could be literally interpreted as a sudden loss. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's in your birth chart.
Wow.
Um, it also speaks to your sun being opposite Jupiter. They said help other people find their sense of identity. So.
I would say that would be accurate, given what I do. What about um, personal stuff? Anything there? I got no secrets. Whatever you see.
So you do have three planets in your fourth house, and the fourth house is the house of the home. It's also the house of what is hidden. They said that you do hide a lot of your deepest thoughts and feelings. Not like the lighter ones, but some of your deeper thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they said you tend to keep hidden, which goes along with a lot of planets being in the fourth house, including the moon and Mercury. So the moon is like your emotional body and what makes you feel comfortable and at home. And you have it conjunct Mercury, which means you're very comfortable just speaking and chit chatting, because that's what Mercury is. But it's interesting how it's in the fourth house. And I'm wondering if there's some kind of connection between that and radio, because what you do is very public, but also it's also kind of behind the scenes in a way, right? Because you have to tune into the right channels to be able to hear you. But it shows that a lot of your emotional thoughts and the things you're working with day in and day out are deep and personal to you.
I would agree with that. And yeah, I feel that maybe I run a little bit deeper, so I don't share everything with everybody because
Yeah, of course. You're
I
on
don't
the
think they'll get it.
replay.
Wow. And I detect from you're the same way.
Oh, definitely. Like when people meet me, they have a hard time reading me because I have so much going on beneath the surface. But a lot of it is just like I'm a mirror. So what level can you meet me at? I can't go to the supermarket and, reveal really deep information to people who aren't ready to hear that. So,
Hmm.
and that goes into what I was talking about before we got on the air about the type of clients that I like to work with are really people who are on a spiritual journey.
How do you know that you are?
You will have spirituality in your life on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form. Which is interesting because I had someone ask me that the other day. How do I know if I meant to do this for a living? And if it's something that's always on your mind, you're always thinking about, always talking about, you probably are going to end up doing something spiritual for a living.
I I tr- I want to process that because I think about the spiritual side. Do you think that some of us are even spiritual and don't even know we are?
Yes. Yes, I've met people like that who are very spiritual, but they're still asleep to how spiritual they are.
I would get that. I would understand that. And maybe I was all along life until I opened the door. Like it was always inside of me. And I'm just, it's not about me. This is just an example. It wasn't until a few years ago, call it three, and then progressively more as we get to now that,
Mhm.
I started opening the door to the spiritual thing. Then I opened the door a little bit more, a little bit more. I was like, whoa, okay. Like I feel it. I understand it. I get it.
Mhm.
Um, would you say that astrology is the timeline of our lives?
I wouldn't go quite that far to say it's a timeline. It's a tool. For me, astrology is a tool. Very much like using oracle cards or tarot cards, they're tools. So, like, if I can't pull information directly, looking at a birth chart or pulling some cards can help me get information because the visualization of it triggers things in my mind.
It's amazing how this all works just from basic information, but that's why astrology is a science. Anything, as an example on the chart that you're looking at, um, for me that abundance or things like that or anything like any like little things hanging out there.
Yeah, well, you have your North Node in the second house, which is interesting because I do too. But that has to do with your soul's purpose and destiny. And the second house does rule over money, abundance, emotional security, and also businesses.
Hmm. But that's a big area there. Emotional security. Sometimes that's better than the abundance. When you need it. What's the most interesting, oddest thing that you found in somebody's chart that they validated? Anything that kind of come to memory?
So I would say my mother's chart's kind of interesting like that. She has Saturn conjunct her North Node. And I had read a long time ago in one of my astrology books that when Saturn is conjunct the North Node, it can mean the absence of the mother. And my mom was abandoned by her mother very young, like 3 or 4 years old. So I always find things like that very interesting.
Wow. I just got a flashback here. An astrologer did my chart like 4 years ago or so, something like that, and said that there will be a change coming and mark the month. And she gave other details, but what that change was, what she was alluding to, was doing these podcasts. It's so
that's
bizarre. Right? And that came from a chart. So just like the other information on your chart.
Yeah, that's good.
To work with people and to read their chart, do they just simply reach out to you? Is that how it works?
Yes, I'm kind of in a stage with my business. I'm throwing everything to the wall and I'm seeing what sticks. So I had online bookings available, but it's easier for me to just do it over the phone. So if you guys just want to call and talk to me directly, that's the easiest way.
How long does it take you to do a chart?
To do a full chart, to talk about everything in it, it would be about an hour.
Okay. And in terms of what you revealed on mine today, is that, that was just I call it the appetizer, just the door opener here. You could go way deeper in details, right?
Definitely.
Wow. I got enough. That was really cool. Really cool. And this is just a piece of what you do. I mean, like we said, psychic readings, life coaching, sound bath, energy, it's all there. And it's my belief, you say the consciousness of us now, we're finally realizing this and open more to what's around us, the spiritual side. Do you feel that happening?
I definitely feel it, and I can see it through my third eye. I can see people waking up, people questioning their reality and what they've been taught and wondering, is there something more?
Yeah. I had an epiphany, I guess it was 2 years ago. It was in my garage. I was just standing there, and I was just staring out, at some trees. And I had this hit that we are all spiritual beings in just a human vessel, a container.
Yes,
and
definitely.
I've heard about it, but I didn't. I was kind of wrestling with it, and then it just hit me that's really what it is. And when you feel the energy of those who are no longer with us around you, and it's there, you have validation. True. Not just a butterfly flying by, and that's if that's good for you, that's great. No question. But when you feel it, then you get that reality that we really are. We are spiritual beings, finally waking up. I believe, finally waking up. Thank you so much for today, Jamie. How do we find you? What's your website?
calmerwaterscoaching.com.
What
and the phone number 228-332-6024.
I give that number one more time.
228-332-6024.
2025, here's the calmer waters for all of us, right? Yeah, if you're looking for answers and want some insight, or even just somebody to walk that journey on the coaching level, reach out to Jamie. Wonderful having you on here today, and thank you for all the insight. Really cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Jamie Serrato, and I am the owner of Calmer Waters Coaching. I'm a spiritual life coach, as well as a Reiki and therapeutic touch practitioner. I also offer crystal, bowl, sound healing, and birth chart readings. I would love to get to know you and help you learn more about your soul blueprint and your purpose for incarnating on the earth.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.